50% of boomers have completely run out of their retirement savings. They have limited options when it comes to returning to work. Their healthcare costs are skyrocketing, and as a result, they now make up a record amount of the homeless population. Nearly half the homeless population today is over the age of 50. Boomers are in a crisis right now. But how did this happen? This is the generation that inherited the most booming economy in modern history and had economic opportunities in their youth that US Gen Z and millennials can only dream of. What happened to all their money? And more importantly, did they deserve this? We spend a lot of time on this channel shitting on boomers, and for the most part, it's justified. Their reckless behavior and outdated mentalities has undoubtedly destroyed the world for future generations. As this comment puts it perfectly, they're the only generation that had it better than their parents and their children. In times like these, however, I believe it's important to realize that not every boomer is horrible on an individual level, and that we should always have some empathy towards our fellow human beings when we see them suffering. A lot of you are probably wondering right now, how on earth did they manage to squander all their wealth? In the booming post-war economy they grew up in, everyone could find a decent job, and it was literally possible to buy a house within a few years of working. What the hell happened? It turns out the insane, unbearable living costs that have absolutely destroyed young people today are starting to now catch up to boomers as well, though in a much different way. Only about 28% of boomers have savings of $100,000 or more. Now, $100,000 may sound like a lot, and it is for a young person. But when you're a senior citizen, it's really not that much at all. Medical expenses in the US are through the roof, and when you're old, it's a non-negotiable living expense. The average boomer spends around $50,000 per year to live, and as a result, even the luckiest boomers who have $100,000 saved up will run out in just 2 years. This presents them a really unique challenge. We already know painfully well just how hard it is to get a job in today's economy. It's already hard for us young people in our prime working years to get a job right now. Imagine if you've been retired for many years, but now your savings have run dry, and you have to try and re-enter the job market with your long, outdated skills. This is where a lot of boomers are getting a reality check and realizing that their own advice of just working harder and pulling themselves up by the bootstraps just isn't working anymore. With dwindling retirement savings, expensive medical care, and limited job prospects, a lot of boomers are living on borrowed time before they go homeless. And this has become a sad reality for many of them now. Now, with previous generations of elderly people, this problem was generally solved by aging parents moving in with their adult children to take care of them. In fact, in many countries around the world, this is still a cultural norm to this day. But with American boomers, this isn't really an option, and a lot of this is the result of their own doing. Their millennial and Gen Z children are struggling way too hard to make ends meet in their own right, to be able to afford to take care of their parents, and this is directly a result of how boomers ruined the economy for future generations. There's no way you can afford to take care of aging parents when you're barely staying afloat yourself. I'm sure most of you watching can relate. If your aging boomer parents needed you to support them right now, even if you wanted to, a lot of you just wouldn't be able to. So this leads us to the ultimate question, which we posed in the beginning of this video. Did the baby boomers ultimately deserve this? Did they make their own bed, and should they now sleep in it? My personal take is this. If I had boomer logic and a boomer mentality, if I were to apply their own logic to them, I would say absolutely yes. They were given the best economy quite possibly in human history, and a lot of their current problems just comes from their own mismanagement of the absurd amounts of wealth they accumulated. I also do feel just a slight bit of revenge watching them struggle in this current job market after they spent so much time detached from reality and criticizing the younger generation for not getting jobs. Now they've experienced firsthand just how hard it is. But alas, I am not a boomer, and I am not a person devoid of empathy. As much as that entire generation sucks as a whole, there are some nice individual people of the boomer generation, and they got screwed over just like the rest of us did. So, while we can safely say they made their own bed, let's not be completely devoid of empathy, as that's what ultimately makes us human. There are some nice individual people who are boomers, but Dave Ramsey certainly isn't one of them. This guy got completely destroyed by Gen Z after his idiotic take on the economy, and you can check out what happened right here.